Pat.
Yo.
All that lead up and you still didn't say Mick.
Mick.
There we go. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. Doing pretty good right now.
I'm feeling real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling real good, and it's primarily because I feel like we had such a stuffed weekend that like I don't feel like it was very restful.
Was not.
And I did not get much leeway on the usual things I work on the weekend, such as like this podcast and like the infrastructure around it. Developing the podcast usually takes up my Saturday morning and afternoons. And none of that got done this week because what were we doing on Saturdays? Bright and early, bushy-tailed.
Well, bright and early, I was buying a donut. But shortly after that...
How early were you buying the donut?
When we met in the parking lot because there was a donut truck.
Oh, dude, I was going to say, I got up at like... I got up at 6 to quietly pull all my ammo boxes and rifle cases out from underneath the bed. Yeah,
I pulled
all those are in the bottom of a lake. I don't have any of that under my bed.
Yeah, that's not how you keep guns. But similarly, I was rubber rolling at 6 a.m. because I had to come to the headquarters, swap a truck because the other truck had the car seats, so I could get the car seats to my wife so that I could have the minivan, which we used to roll down to the shooting range. And so, yeah, it took us a little while to get down there, but that was okay because it was kind of nice because it was like in the morning.
Wait! You still haven't said like what we were doing on Saturday.
I'm still leading up to it.
Oh, you leading up to it?
Because it was nice because usually you just have a time you got to be somewhere. Like we're so ruled by the watch on our wrist sometimes as Americans. Sometimes I appreciate Mexican time. I appreciate Arab time. I appreciate Jamaican time.
Island time.
Exactly. And it's like you get there when you get there, you get done when you get done. And so anyways, in the bright and early, I was buying a donut. Shortly after that, we were stopping at the gas station because we needed gas. You were headed to the hardware store for some paint. Other guys were headed to get some burritos.
Bro, by the way, those burritos, cheese was great. Potatoes are great. I don't know about you, but me and my man, Double L, burnt bacon, bro. The bacon was crispy.
Dude,
like blackened
really?
Bacon. Oh, yeah. It was the burnt flavor really ruined everything else for you.
Really, I thought it was one of the best I've had in a long time.
Oh, okay. Hey.
Maybe you
might have been just a couple oopsies.
Maybe the new guy was making yours, and
I'll be honest. Like both of us were like, "Damn, this tastes like someone put like charcoal in my burrito with cheese and potatoes."
Man, we'll have to try it again, just to see if it redeems itself. And then
for
if
$5, I don't know, man. There's other breakfast burritos that are way more reliable for less,
but they're not that big for $5.
It's true. Those were big burritos.
They were big. They're like pushing Chipotle girth. And anyways, we met up with some other compatriots, and we rolled down to our new favorite shooting range.
Which is private, and you can't join us,
That's
suckers.
Damn right.
You can't tell me I can't shoot more than one round per second. You can't tell me I can't practice my draw.
Yeah. You can't tell me that I can't lay on the ground and roll while shooting downrange like Patrick Swayze or Will Smith.
I'm kind of glad that you tried that. I'm kind of glad that you tried that because I once tried the the Mel Gibson dive
somersault.
The dive onto your belly.
Yeah.
And roll.
Yeah, the rolling.
Barrel roll.
Yeah, while you're shooting.
And Beretta 92 FS. My buddy... Dude, last week I've been talking about set some boundaries with. When we went out to the range once, I was like, dude, I've never shot this 92 FS. Can I replicate Mel Gibson's dive and roll out of the Christmas tree park scene in Lethal Weapon? And he was like, yeah, man, go for it. And he recorded me while I jumped and dived, and I was like rolling on the ground shooting. Bro, there is nothing more disorientating than like being irons on the paper and then rolling, and then those irons are like in the dirt.
Yeah.
And like you're trying to like invert your controller.
You're shooting into the dirt and into the flyway above you. All
it was
at the,
most
time.
it was the most insane thing. Like I genuinely think like a good practice would be like taking your gun round not chambered, doing a roll, like just a front roll, side roll, whatever,
just a dry run,
and then try to chamber around and shoot, because the roll really discombobulates your ability to aim the irons. Like you don't realize it until you try, and then you're like, "The hell is what direction am I in?
What is going on?"
Anyways, I was proud of you for doing that because it made me feel validated.
Thank you. Sometimes you gotta have fun, and I'll tell you this: I think I just broke my chair. Anyways, we'll keep rolling with it. It was safe fun still. I was, so here's what I love about being on a private range. Here's the things about it that are dope. You know who you're shooting with. You don't have randos showing up around you.
Coming and going.
You also don't have, so here's the deal. If you're doing like your standard public land shooting range shoot, yeah, you've got randos coming through, and you have really typically no range safety officers going on. If you're at a private range, indoor or outdoor, where you're going to pay money for it, there's a guy standing there. There's a fire marshal, whatever, a range safety officer who is directing everything, range hot, range cold, and all you can really do is stand with your toes on a line and shoot straight down at your target until he says range cold. You go down there, check it, you come back, reload your stuff, and while you're walking out there, the whole time in the back of your head, I don't know about you, but for me, when you're shooting with other strangers, in the back of your head, I'm kind of thinking I could feel a numbing and piercing pain in my spine at any moment because there's like 28 guns pointed down range of people who I have no idea their proficiencies. So that's in the back of your head. It's loud the whole time. They're shooting the whole time. And here, don't get me wrong, I love a gun range. But what you get to do when you have your own deal going on is you can even be in the range one guy at a time. You can run a dynamic drill. You can be practicing more than just your marksmanship of pointing, shooting at a target, which everybody should do a whole lot, because you got to do that a whole lot to even be able to actually hit anything. But also then if you're going to be, running some scenarios, one, it's just freaking fun to be moving through multiple targets, being the only person there doing it, while guys are watching, some pressure's on, and it's just safe. It's fun. And I think you get way better training out of it.
Smoke break.
Smoke break.
Hey, Ken, it's Mick, and I've got something important to talk about. We all hope we never find ourselves in a self-defense situation, but life's unpredictable. Enter the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer, an actual credible law firm you can put on retainer for your self-defense needs. For just $35 a month, you get national coverage in all 50 states for criminal and civil legal representation in self-defense situations, complete with a 24/7, 365 toll-free emergency line. That's real legal support when you need it most. What's in the package? Bail bonds, scene cleanup, firearm replacement, even mental health counseling. Plus, 0 fees for a laundry list of defense-related costs like expert witnesses. So support the show and get yourself some peace of mind. Click the link in our show notes or visit our sponsors page to sign up for the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer.
Hey folks, Pat here. If you're like Mick and I, you're a fan of classic tales like Lonesome Dove, Blood Meridian, The Three-Body Problem, and Steinbeck's East of Eden. With Audible, you can dive into these epic stories anytime, anywhere. Sign up for a free month, and your first audiobook is on the house. To start your free trial and support our show, click the link in the show notes or swing by the sponsors page on our website.
Want an awesome website for your podcast? Check out Podpage. We use it for the Mick Pat show, and it's a game changer. Set it up in minutes, no coding needed. Support the show by using our link to get started. Your podcast deserves a home as great as ours. Podpage, the one-stop solution. I will say that most people are unaware that they have probably surpass the utility of a shooting range, like the standard shooting range and what it offers. Usually within the first 100 rounds of a gun they're practicing on. And I'm not saying like just the first 100 rounds of like just going to the range to have fun and shoot a rifle or rent a gun or something like that. But like a lot of new gun buyers, like they get their AR or they get their pistol and they're like, what's next? I guess I pay I pay $30-$50 for an hour at this range. I don't know how far the target's supposed to be. I don't really know how to measure like if I'm improving.
What's MOA?
Why I might be not as accurate, but I'm more accurate sometimes. And like, I really do think within 100 rounds, you can easily outpace what they allow you to do at the range.
For sure. And because especially with this
at a standard indoor also.
Right. And let's say, here's the deal. If you're just purely target practice shooting, then you have 40 years ahead of you of refining that craft. Meaning, if you're just going out there to poke holes in paper at certain distances, you still, you can do that forever and you can refine it to the point where you can stack, 10 rounds in a quarter at 75 yards with a pistol, right? Or whatever, like that thing. But what you have maybe never practiced ever in your life is getting that gun out of your pants quickly or acquiring a target quickly.
Out of your fanny pack?
Exactly.
Bro, dude, the locomotion, I love practicing it, but the locomotion of practicing grabbing a zipper, pulling it across, pulling the gun out of said confinement is a unique one that requires way more fine motors than just pulling your shirt up or just going from a low ready to aiming. And I love it, dude. But you can't do that at most ranges. Most ranges that's a no-no.
It's a big no-no.
Which I get because there's a lot of idiots who just don't.
And I like it because I'm not trying to catch an ear hole.
I'm not trying to catch a
9
mil through, through the plexiglass range wall into my knee.
Yeah. In my mind too, I'm always wondering
these fucking walls aren't stopping
exactly.
shit.
Are these actually bulletproof?
No, it's fucking plexiglass and some fiberglass.
They got this on sale after COVID,
Yeah, bro. No, it's like I'm not trusting that. You mean to tell me that green tip M855 going at close to 3,000 feet per second can punch through, most body armor, but it's not going to punch through your like quarter-inch plexiglass wall.
Through an inch steel plate, but not through your glass. Yeah, I agree. And I think that it would hold up to a lot, but I'm not trying to risk it.
Yeah.
And, if you can, shoot a fly off a horse's ass at 100 yards, that's great. And I think that's actually a really awesome skill to have,
especially if you get the drop.
Exactly.
But we don't live in a society that looks kindly to you shooting first.
Exactly. Yeah. So like your recon sniper days, that's awesome. And I wish I was one of those, but
fortunately in the current American legal system, you have to react.
Exactly.
You can't proact.
And honestly, it keeps us all a little safer. As far as, if we could just go around Wild Westin. But what's the FBI stat again on it's like 95% of altercations or deadly altercations happen within 3 to 7 yards or whatever that is. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
I don't know the for real stat, but basically lots of stuff happens within 7 yards of your body. You're not aiming something on your wrist like Steve McQueen in The Great Escape, tracking the motorcycle, taking the long shot with your Luger. So your actual marksmanship is important, but it might come second to your mobility training, meaning your ability to draw something out,
move,
manipulate it correctly,
get into concealment or cover.
Yeah. And then at which point, if you have, 10 to 17 rounds in something, you're going to hit it some, and now that's also, that's not a guarantee. Maybe. That's not a guarantee. But what I'm saying is as those distances close in so close, the reaction time might start to outweigh the marksmanship.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
At a point, there's definitely a point of intersection where your marksmanship is for sure good enough, and it becomes far more important about your reaction time and ability to move quickly. That said, I think we saw a lot of the former on Saturday, and I'll say this, I feel pretty good about my ability to shoot. Feel pretty good about being able to switch on, and it doesn't take me a lot of effort to put rounds on paper into a pretty reliable group, a group that I am not embarrassed or ashamed of.
Right. Like that is in the size of another man's torso
at 10 yards further back than this paper is.
Right.
Whereas when I feel like I got to turn it on because I'm under pressure and I really am trying to move quickly, I feel like, there are times when I'm like, all right, I'm having to actually recite some of the mantra to myself of feel that trigger reset. Don't try to find the dot. Let the dot come over the paper. Stuff like that.
Bring it, look at the target and bring that thing to your eyes.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think what we saw on Saturday was a lot of guys who, credit to them, they were very honest. They were very open. And these aren't guys who have been, carrying guns for years on their hips, waiting for an opportunity. These guys were pretty humble. Like, hey man, I haven't done a lot of pistol stuff. I want to do more. I want to get to a point where I feel confident carrying it in a security, volunteer setting. I'm here to learn. And I saw a lot of guys really speeding up on that reaction time. And I mean, I don't know about you, bro, but I felt like it was very like a switch of oh, he's going fast. Also, he missed everything. He's missing 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things of that's okay. If there's any time, if there's any place to make those kind of mistakes, it's here.
Yeah. And that was even me on our, I wish I had the actual stats in front of me if I'd recorded how we ran a particular drill where you were moving, you shot 10 shots, you shot,
barricade
you shot 6 targets and you shot 10 shots, right?
Yeah. It was 3 rounds through different positions of a barricade, stair step barricade. And then it was a round and 4 more targets.
Yep. In a row, 1 in each.
And then a step pivot, run to cover, 2 in the body, 1 in the head at about probably, I would say 25 yards.
Yeah.
Or maybe 20 yards.
Yeah. So
it was at that point.
So it was 10 rounds and 6 targets.
Yeah.
And the first time we did the drill, we actually didn't pull a trigger.
I think most people ran through it I have my own.
Oh, you're good. You're sneaky with it.
I don't put that. That's like putting water. That's like putting the water that you use to rinse a coffee pot out in your mug. I don't do 3 milligrams in.
Yeah, you know what other people say?
6. I don't even do 6 milligrams in, dude. I do 12, 18.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Sometimes 24 when I'm trying to just ruin a night. I'm I hate myself right now. Look at this. Look at you in the mirror.
Yeah.
You've achieved nothing. I just throw 4 pouches in and I just wait till I throw up.
Yeah. For those of you listening and confused, I offered something to Mick and he
something.
A Zen. I offered a little.
It has to be something to be something. You offered me nothing.
I offered him a lip pillow, which most people would say, "No, thanks, bro. I'm good." Said I was ridiculed, but that's okay because I hope it brought you entertainment. But the range. 6 targets, 10 shots. And so what I was saying was the first time we did it, we didn't even shoot any rounds at all. And that was just to walk through it. And I think that lots of guys out there wouldn't even think to do this. I know some of our guys didn't think to do this. Lots of pros do think to do this, but it is to where we're talking about marksmanship or firearm drills versus movement drills. We're combining the two in this, where we are moving through a process of different targets, and we're also trying to put our bullets in the right spot as we go. And so we're actually combining 2 parts of training together as one. And so the first time we just walked it, and like goofballs, we pointed our guns at the target and we said bang, bang as we went. And we said bang, 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 bang. And it's silly. And you feel kind of like a goofball doing it.
Yeah, but mine with a laser gun and then with zap.
Yeah. Yep. Mick had a laser gun. He said zap, zap. And here's the deal. We collectively saved $100.
More than that.
For starters.
Some homies out there had, expensive rounds that they were practicing with.
So it's like, so you, in a matter of minutes, we save hundreds of dollars, as well as we got better at what we were going to do the next time through, because we got better and safer when we did it. And then the next time through, it wasn't timed. And so we all kind of took our time through it. And then the third time through, we were kind of pushing for time. And that's where I did see for myself between the first and second time through. The second time through, I had less rounds on target. I did move through it rather quickly. And it's funny too, in one sense, between like trying to push your confidence of not like, just like, for me, there's something between point and aim instinctual shooting, as well as, like really front sight focused, acquiring a target and shooting, because I feel like sometimes within certain ranges, I'm better at just a point and shoot and keep moving through versus like taking time to acquire. And in some ways that is more realistic to how you're going to go. But the other part of that argument is, if you train with good fundamentals, then those fundamentals are going to kick in when it's time to, to shoot. And you will be doing point and aim shooting, but your fundamentals hopefully will kind of kick in more as you go, right? So there's that importance to there. And really our training, what we did technically, I would say was only like what we should have done to start training. Meaning,
I think it is the start of training for a lot of the guys that are out there.
Because
like for a lot of the guys that are out there, they're like, damn, this is the sun peeking over the horizon, and there's way further I can go. And I've already seen myself bad today and improve to a point where I feel good about walking away.
Yeah.
And however, I am also able to recognize this is just the start. There's so much more that could be practiced, and and it was crazy because like for the whole hour and a half drive home, that's what me and the guy I was driving home with, where he was just asking questions and
he was
just
maybe
going over stuff.
And the funny thing is, he was one of the best shooters out there.
He was I would say one of the most improved. He's already got a lot of experience on rifles and shotguns, right? So I knew he had the hand-eye coordination and speed. But the use of a handgun and drawing and reloading and stuff.
But he's a sleeper.
Total sleeper. He's also one of the most humble guys.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, one of the most humble,
mess with this guy.
Humble, polite. will love you.
Oh yeah.
Will like if you threw up on his like fancy like a polar bear rug, he'd be like, oh man.
Let me help you clean that up.
Here, you know what? How about you get some water and I'll clean this up. And like he'd be bummed, and he'd make a joke about it, but he would never like get in your face about it. He would never bust your ass. He never threatened to hurt you.
Oh yeah.
Whereas a lot of people, like that's the first thing they go to.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I love him.
Oh,
that's why awesome. I love him to death.
Oh, it was so good, so awesome. And I will say this, with our guys, I was impressed by. I didn't see. I saw one safety violation all day, and that was done by myself because I was filming and I stepped in front of somebody.
Oh, did you? Are you talking about when that one dude turned around and you were in the line of the muzzle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that wasn't like as much as a... I feel like that was an acceptable one because you're filming on the camera.
Right. And he 180'd. But here's it. So I will say that was... But I legitimately got flagged. I'm pretty sure I got fully flagged. Luckily, he was empty and doing a mag change, and I stepped out of the way. So
I did. I'll say this. I feel like I told you this. I did stop before any rounds were fired. One guy from blowing off his ass cheek
At
the range. Yeah, his shirt was untucked. He had a holster in his belt at about 4:00, and I saw his shirt go into the holster. He had just loaded a mag, put it in, racked around, and started
in
putting
the holster. So when he
when he pushes the gun into the holster,
it could do it. Or if you pull your shirt, it could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I saw him going. I was like, whoa, man, your shirt is in your holster.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, really? What? And like, it was kind of like, I didn't know if he picked up what I was saying. I was like, if your shirt catches on that trigger, your gun's going to go bang. Your gun doesn't have a safety.
Right.
And he was carrying, P365. And he was like, oh, wow. And like at the same time, I was talking to another guy about, I was like, hey, man, how about you just Boy Scout today? Tuck your shirt in. You're going to walk around all day with a tucked in shirt, but you get to experience what like carrying appendix is with an undershirt.
Right.
So the gun at an appendix position isn't irritating your belly all day. And then you'll have a more positive experience. It'll be easier to draw. And like both of those at the same time, the other guy was like, I could see like the wheels spinning. He's like, maybe I'll try carrying an appendix and I'll tuck my shirt in. But I was like, it gave me almost like knee jerk PTSD, because I'm sure a lot of people listening have seen too, the picture going online of the guy who was carrying a leather holster at 4:00, tucked his handgun in it. The leather was sweaty. His shirt was in the holster. It folded in when he tucked his gun, went bang, blew off. Like, I mean, not blew off, but blew a hole through his ass. Yeah. And like he went to the hospital. It was all just meat and fat.
It's the best spot to get shot.
Oh, yeah.
You still don't want to get shot.
Not even that many nerves. Yeah. But blew a hole through his ass, dude, like a clean hole.
Oh, my God.
And he was like, the dude had the humility to like post it on Reddit. And he was like, so I put a 38 through my asshole today. And like, here's what it looks like. And like, I'm never carrying leather and I'm never wearing an untucked undershirt again. And I was like, hey, man, I'm going to learn from you. And I stopped carrying leather that day, dude. I used to have a leather holster that was like all like oven and vacuum sealed and stiff, but it had gotten soft over the years from sweat and heat. Yep. And I remember I was like, well, I'm just not carrying leather anymore. And I tossed it out and I got a new holster right then.
Yeah, because I'm always leery to train drawing weapons, because we're going back to the beginning of our conversation. There's a reason why ranges don't let you train drawing your gun.
It's because a lot of people have shot their right nut off.
Yeah, or their right femoral. Like, you know, it's like
which there's another thing. If you're carrying properly and you get the things that make carrying more pleasurable, the gun won't be pointed. You'll just put a hole through your pants. The gun won't be pointed at your thigh. But anyways,
no, for sure. And like all these things come with experimental. All these things come with experience. And so I think it's good for like the guy you said, hey, tuck your shirt and just roll with it sticking out today, because you're not ready for this. And that's okay, because really it sounds silly, and don't let your wife catch you, but you need to stand in front of a mirror and draw that thing out of your pants about 1,000 times.
I let my wife watch me do it, bro.
Yeah.
I'll go into her bathroom and do it.
Like, how's my draw looking today?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I get like dirty with myself, bro. Like I'll draw my gun and be like, whoa, I'll do anything. I'll be like, please just have mercy. And then my wife's like, what are you doing?
I'm picturing you butt naked with your new cowboy hat.
Oh, you're picturing me butt naked?
I'm picturing you. Yeah. I'm picturing you butt naked with a cowboy hat and a cowboy 6-gun holster tied on your leg. Just practicing.
Just like threatening myself.
Yeah, practicing firing. Fanning your gun.
You look like you're shooting at someone with a gun when you look in the mirror.
But for real, you gotta like, it feels silly when someone walks in or you or whatever, but like stand in the mirror, pull it in and out of your pants 1,000 times without a bullet in there, because this isn't a game. We're not playing around, like it's literally could end your life faster than anything else in this whole planet can, besides a sub headed down to the Titanic.
Oh, damn. That was fast.
Fast.
Real fast. I've never seen a gun turn someone into toothpaste.
Yes.
That said, yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. I don't claim to be an expert by any means, but I know I've spent a good amount of time on it, and I know I've seen a lot of people do dumb shit. I know I've been given the rare opportunity to see people I look up to mess up and do dumb shit.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've learned a lot. I still have, plenty I could practice and grow, and I still go back to the fundamentals, man. I mean, even on Saturday, I caught myself thinking, hey, my finger came off the trigger on that follow-up shot. I did not feel the trigger reset. I need to be more conscious of trigger reset. But all that said, the idea at my core when it comes to carrying a firearm for self-protection is any firearm at all, any firearm at all, you should have 80 hours on that platform in practice before you start carrying it. And when I say platform, I mean 80 hours on a semi-automatic, no safety. The safety is like a Glock, it's the trigger safety.
Fire.
Yeah, and it's, striker fire or whatever. But you should have 80 hours on that platform. And I'm totally fine if 10 hours of that is actual bang time.
Right.
If the other 70 hours are you laying in bed and you're drawing from the position you carry, aiming up at, a weird dot on your ceiling, focusing on trigger decompression, click. There's no waver in your front sights. You have no twitch. You rack, reholster. And if you do that for 70 hours, you are going to be way more proficient than 99.9% of people who carry their gun. I have straight up told guys when they come to me, it was a weird thing, man. I was like the first dude to be able to old enough to carry in my friend group in college. And I had a lot of guys come up to me afterwards and tell me when they got their license and that they were carrying. And they would pull their shirt up and I would see a sticky holster with a Glock 21 or 19 or 43 or like some super tiny single stack. And I'd be like, your holster, I get it's a sticky holster. Probably feels pretty firm. I doubt it will be that firm in your panic and your draw is not perfectly perpendicular to the ground. Your draw is kind of like flinging out this way or you're struggling with it or whatever. So when your holster, I don't think is reliable to come off for you to have access to that trigger. It'll probably come out with your gun when you draw. 2, I don't think you know how to draw the gun without having your shirt catch on a part of it. And 3, I don't have enough confidence in you to be able to pull the trigger in a pressure situation and not have your finger slapping it and the gun deviating a centimeter in either direction, across the vertices.
Which with a pistol, by the time it gets where it's going, if
you slap the trigger, I did the math once. So if you slap the trigger and your gun deviates to the right 1 centimeter at 7 yards, 21 feet, the average, whatever, right? Your round is going to be about 6 feet to the right of the person.
Yeah.
6 feet to the right of the person, bro.
That's other people.
That is other people, right? That's a lot of other people in a lot of situations.
And if there's even no people, yo dead.
Yeah. Still, right? Yeah. You're putting rounds all around him. You're outlining the guy so the perps know. So that way, when the cops arrive and they chalk your body on the ground, they know he was kind of over there.
Yeah.
But like,
that's a warning shot, bro.
Yeah. But anyways, so I'm very flexible with the practice, but my firm rule is like 80 hours minimum. And like my rule for like when I started like practicing like drills with having an AR in the car or shotgun in the car or shotgun for home defense, I probably spent, by the time I got to that point where I was like, maybe it's worth practicing having an AR or shotgun available in the vehicle or as a first go-to during home defense. I had probably reached about close to 40 hours shoot time with those. Not anything really fancy. I got real fancy with the 40 hours of dry fire.
Right.
And I did a lot of repetition. And like now I don't feel like I'm better with shotgun and rifle than I am with pistol, but I definitely feel confident in my ability to like manipulate those instruments for, using in response to an emergency. And I would argue that the confidence from those 40 hours dry fire, 40, 60 hours dry fire, the confidence from that is probably 3 times as more enabling and reinforcing than the 20 to 40 hours on the range that I've had shooting those guns.
Yep.
Or shooting those platforms. Because I will say this, I don't think you need to spend 80 hours with each handgun you buy, each rifle you buy. If you're a gun guy like me, you've already sold your first AR, you've built your second one, you've built your third one, and you gave it to your mom as a Christmas gift, and you're on your third shotgun. So like that's why I say platform practice. Right.
I agree. And like I think I'd say that's the same if you're also pistol wise, if you're switching to something that's way different. If you're going striker fire to 1911.
Yeah, if you're going to 1911 where it's got a thumb safety,
14
grip safety,
safeties. Yeah,
and it's not double action. It's
got a
single action.
decocker.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you need to spend, especially with that gun. That is a fine motor skills firearm.
And what you should do, go back to the striker fire situation.
Shut up, dude. Shut your whore mouth.
No,
I carry a double action fat boy, and you envy me for it. You wish you could carry that hunk of brick upon your appendix, but your appendix is weak and it cries out, begging for you to relieve it of the pressure.
Yeah.
I'm such a. Don't get me wrong, guys. It's totally impractical what I carry in the winter. Well, it's impractical, I get, for like the sake of like there's better options.
If the Cubans come, you're set, bro.
Bro, if fucking anything comes, 15 rounds of 45 out of a 5-inch barrel, eat lead, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I feel pretty confident about any situation.
Oh my God. It's so funny. And so I think that if you're moving from one of those things to the other, like for me, I might move to a pistol with a safety right now because.
So you'd consider like something that's got like you have it cocked, round in the chamber, hammer back, but lever up. Yeah, safety on.
Yeah,
dude, welcome to the world of the FNX 45. Right. Let me take you on this adventure, baby.
Because I like guns with hammers, and also, but here's what I really like is I like guns when my 3-year-old runs up to me and grabs my pants. There is like no chance that thing's going to do anything.
Yeah, so that's totally like, like I can see how that would change the philosophy.
Right. So like here's my philosophy used to be. Either one, so this is what you get crucified for on the forum, so I don't care. Here, one, nothing in the chamber. With a striker fire pistol, no safety. Your safety is the fact that there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. An unloaded gun, here's a dead man's gun. I understand all that. But a big part of my philosophy around that would be also like that it cannot go off. And the chances of it going off are like the chances of my shirt getting caught in the holster, the chances of whatever, something, my buddy coming up and sack tapping me, whatever, are way higher with something in the chamber. So that's one philosophy, as well as the fact that like if you train with a gun with no safety, you just know that like when you pull it out, you start pulling the trigger, that's when it's going to be going off. And there's nothing else you have to do for it. You don't have to train anything else. Now, if your life's more complicated with tiny human beings around you, having a safety and a grip safety or a hammer or all three, these things that you can decock and all this stuff, they take those chances of that thing going off in your pants and really drastically change it. And so you just have to retrain up to use it. And so that's where I've thought about using something with a safety, just because I don't want to have that risk. Because the to be real thing would be there's a way more likely chance of ADing than needing it ready to go. Like that's just like the way that
ADing, actively discharging.
Yeah, accidental discharge.
I usually say ND, negligent.
Negligent, yeah. So
okay,
AD,
right.
accidental discharge, ND, negligent discharge. Way higher chance of that happening than actually needing it in a real life situation when you have a lot of things going on in life, but you want to be strapped. So,
look, man, I'll never scrape someone. Here's the biggest thing, right? Here's my approach to this kind of shit. If I really think my method is the best, the least effective way of convincing you my method is the best is by insulting you for yours.
Right.
The most effective way of convincing you that my method is better is spending time in rehearsal and you making a pros and cons choice over, okay, I see the value in this and I see the value in what I do. Which one do I think is more valuable?
Right.
Which is like, again, something I think we saw on the range on Saturday. We saw, I would say half the guys don't carry with a round in the chamber.
Right. And I would say at this point, they probably shouldn't due to lack of training.
Exactly. But I will say,
and some people would say you shouldn't if you haven't trained up to there. It's all about, different philosophies.
Again, I've never told anyone you need to carry with a round in the chamber. I've always told people I carry with a round in the chamber. But I also, the day I got my concealed carry license, I watched a video on like, how the fuck does this thing work?
Right.
And I watched that video and I was like, I feel very confident it can't go bang unless I fuck up.
Right.
Like the gun itself isn't going to have a malfunction and like, the pressure of gravity break that's just not how they operate. That's not how the design of the firearm is. It's not under tension.
And then after that, you went and spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours with it.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, my gun's never had a bullet come out of it without someone pulling the trigger. Right. That said, I do think Saturday we saw a very clear difference. I can think of one specific situation where a guy pulled his gun to rack it. We were running a couple of drills, and don't worry, Ken, if you're still listening, I'm going to give you all the kind of drills and recommendations for products out of this Saturday that I saw beneficial to the shooters and such. But we were running a drill, a response drill, a drill that required a step-to-step process to be hopefully realistic. And the idea was you are aware that there is a shooter, a threat that requires, you to engage with lethal force. But your priority is not first to engage the shooter. It is first to address individuals who need help, such as children, moving those individuals to a safe place, and then moving to a position where you can engage the shooter. And it's great because it challenges priority thinking. I saw people a couple of times, even subconsciously, I think, start going for their gun at the same time they were reaching for the surrogate child, the backpack. It was interesting because I could see the hand that was going for the gun, like
flag
glitch,
the backpack or
glitch. It was like before, once it got a hold of the backpack, it committed. But in like the half second between making contact with the backpack and picking it up like a kid, and it was like back and forthing, rubber banding between reaching for the gun under, wherever they were carrying and picking up the kid. And it was cool because I was like, that's exactly what's going on, right? In your brain is prioritization and switching between priorities and assigning value to operations. But one very specific situation, guy moved the backpack, moved the kid behind cover, turned to engage and identify the threat. We had different colored targets out there, which was called out at the beginning of the scenario. So, his back was to it. He would have to pick up the backpack, run, put it in a safe spot, turn, identify the proper color, and draw and engage. And when he drew, he went to rack, it jammed, dropped the gun, picked the gun up.
I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah. Dropped the gun on the ground, picked it up, He didn't fumble juggle it, which is good. You should never try to juggle the gun. Let the gun drop on the ground. Once it's like there, pick it up. Juggling a gun is how you do accidentally get an ND.
On your face.
Yeah, or someone else's, or whatever. But anyways, juggled it, picked it up. In the attempt, what I think happened is he didn't have a firm grip on the hand, on the like actual pistol grip.
Stripped it out of his own hand.
Yeah, and when he went to rack it, stripped the gun out of his hand. The like feeling of the gun going out of his dominant hand made him panic. Once it's out of his dominant hand, the whole lower frame goes back into battery with the receiver, and that feeling is going to again pull it out of your racking hand. Goes onto the ground, picks it up. It's half racked, jammed, so he had to rack the round out, tap it, and like rack another round, and then put 2 rounds on target. And that took 4 seconds. And it was right after he announced himself. Like he started drawing and to rack, saying, "Drop the gun." And I'm telling you, like, bro, like it's only a quarter of a second for someone who already has the gun out to turn and engage you.
You know what the only move is at that point?
What?
The Mel Gibson.
Dive, roll,
hit the dirt,
roll,
tap and rack, and fire.
But like I saw that several times where like back to back we would see guys go out with a round in the chamber, and then we would see a guy after them go out and have to rack it. And like, yes, I understand the logic behind it. At the same time,
it loses a lot of time.
At the same time, if you put me or some of our other boys out there with rounds in the chamber already, if you put us on one side and you put the other guys on the other side, and we were looking at each other, and it was, hey, first person to draw and bang the other one wins. I guarantee you the philosophy of everyone without a round in the chamber would change, because they'd be very aware that they're dead. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so like that's why like I feel like I saw a lot of guys' philosophy change on the range that day. Like I feel like I saw them like, and again, I never wanted to tell anyone you can't do that. That's the wrong way to do it, because it is a very subjective about like what your situation is, and I respect a parent's choice to be like, hey, this feels like the safest thing for my kid, even if it means I get shot.
Right? Because
hey, I get it.
Because that's where the philosophy breakdown there goes. Where I've said this for a long time, which is, I don't carry for self-defense. I typically carry in places where I'm going to be protecting other people. So, it's like that's, and
so if I get shot, I get shot.
Yeah. And now the other argument would be, okay, that's a great. You sound very, valiant, right? But if you get shot dead, can you save anybody? So that argument obviously comes back on itself.
Yeah, it gets down almost to philosophy, right?
Oh, for sure.
But like that's also why I just have never I've never felt the need to argue it. I've had good buddies of mine tell me like, "Yep, I have my gun and I have my ammo in different rooms in my house." And then some days I carry that gun, and I get up, I grab the gun, and then I walk to the other room, grab the ammo. And my plan is to do that and keep them separate, and my child never observing me do either of those things for as long as I live. And, I got my whole opinion, but like, I've never told that guy, like, man, you should teach your kid, or you should think about teaching them. So that way, if they ever catch you, it's not a curiosity thing. It's a respect thing. Dude, that doesn't matter. Not my kid, not my house, not my gun. One of my best friends, I'll always respect him. If they ever ask, like, what would you do? I'll maybe like have a philosophy on that. But like when it comes to the Second Amendment and the way you conduct yourself in that, in your home and your family, like as long as you're not being negligent, I'm not going to say anything.
For sure. And it's funny because that even our conversation is just around the philosophy of actually guys who carry guns or have guns versus like, the spectrum is even so much wider. If there's people there's guys who are like, I sleep with a loaded gun under my pillow. Like there is that, like, and it is, there's zero like safety measure, precaution measure. Like this is how I will protect myself over to like people. There are other guys who are like, I don't own a gun. Like I will let them, like I am pacifist, like a true pacifist. So then like, it's funny how that like the whole thing, like point being, I do think it's funny how many perspectives there are, and even in what lots of people would think, lots of people would lump all of us, like all the guys we've just been talking about, into like the same perspective. Actually, there's a broad perspective, and then it just goes. But even within these different tiny microcultures, there's actually like 40-hour conversations to be had about all of it. And I think ultimately what it breaks down to is what we started off talking about at the beginning, which is training with your stuff so that you feel comfortable with it. Because I've been around guys, I've got guys in my family, guys in my life and friends who just are very uncomfortable around firearms. And some of that comes from like a very healthy respect of being like, I mean, personally, I've never seen somebody shot. I have guys in my family who are like,
do I have a video for you? Just kidding.
Right. But like, okay, I've seen plenty of those videos, but it's never been like, I was standing there in the aftermath of this situation that was absolutely wretched. And there's guys in my life who are like, guess what, son? Like I've been there, and like I've seen what these do. I've seen how this plays out. I've seen what this actually is, like that sort of thing. And like, so meaning I have room to grow in my own like maturity around these things, as well as, so I'm giving credit to that. I'm also saying I've seen people who are just like so fearful around firearms that it actually makes the firearm more dangerous. Makes the firearm way more dangerous than it ever should be.
Yep.
Because it's, if you know how to use it, and you know how to respect it, and you know how to keep it safe, it can be used well, and it can be kept away from being a tool of harm to innocent people. And
I'll say this. I know this is gonna sound radical to a lot of people, but I have never met someone who has spent time like getting comfortable around a firearm, learning how to use it, the basic practices of learning it and then growing in skill. I've never met a person who walked away more afraid.
That's true.
And that is why I'm a personal believer in everyone should have a gun. Because, and I'm even a believer, like everyone should have a gun, even like felons, even criminals. Hear me out. Like the reason I think they should have a gun is because if everyone has a gun, it is going to reduce the likelihood that they are going to, like, if everyone has a gun and not just like everyone has one and it's like, I don't know how to use it, but it's in the cupboard over there. If everyone has a gun and everyone is trained with it and everyone's like, damn, this thing is fast and scary. And also I can see myself getting better with it. And I understand how it is so fast that if the other guy or gal is more experienced and trained than you are with it, you're already dead.
And I think it can bring value to human life.
Oh, I think it brings it an insane amount of value. Yeah. Like I've never, I can't think of a time in my life where I've been more aware about the value of other people's lives around me than when I have a loaded gun.
For sure.
Like think about when you're at the range and someone's being an idiot. Think about how much you realize that person's life matters.
Oh yeah.
And at every, like the other 30 years you've known that individual or whatever, and you have not been around them when they had a gun, all of a sudden you see them looking down the barrel of a gun, wondering if it's loaded, and you're like, holy shit, your life has importance. I'm afraid that you could kill yourself right now negligently. Right. And I'm going to try to stop that.
Oh yeah.
And like, I can't think of another thing that makes you more rapidly realize like, oh, this person's important. This person is a life. They have value. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Your last statement though makes you sound like Syndrome from The Incredibles.
Syndrome. Like everyone should have a gun.
Yeah.
Everyone should be a super.
Yeah. Because if everybody's super,
no one is.
Then nobody is.
I know, dude. That's honestly I think the best way to deal with it. If everybody has a gun, no one's afraid of people with guns.
Right.
You know, have you ever met someone who's afraid of people with cars?
No. Yeah. Right.
Have you ever met someone who's like, that person has a car?
That person could kill like 80 people in a parade right now.
That person could literally, no matter what building I go into, they could use that to bring that building down.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
yeah.
but we don't really think of them, you know, we think of guns as differently than that. And I just think like if everyone has a gun and everyone, you know, learns and trains and practices on them and accepts that they're never going away, you know, it's Pandora's box, then it becomes way less of a big deal. And it becomes way more of a, so this is what you do. And this is how you stay on top of it. Also, this is going to be something that at some point in your life teaches you every individual human life has a value to it. Right. That said, to our kin out there, I want to follow up on this. The two drills primarily that I wanted to go over when we were doing our church security team training is the Wilson Combat Church Security Drill. It is with Ken Hackathorn, and it is the episode 9 of the masterclass. If you just go onto YouTube and search Church Security Drill, it's the first video that comes up.
And to properly run this drill, you have to wear a blazer like you're at church.
Well, I wasn't wearing a blazer, but I was wearing my cowboy hat.
In that video, though, it's funny. Like, look for the guy in a blazer on a gun range.
Yeah,
and you'll
no
find
kidding.
him.
And with a mustache that goes to his ears, looking like, you know, the Colonel out there about to sell me some chicken.
But at one point in this video, I think maybe I've mythologized this video at this point, but
I've watched it like 10 times.
I think, do they slow-mo it ever?
I don't know, man.
I feel like at one point he slow-mo spins and his blazer like Batman's cape and he draws.
No, bro, that's just the effect, man. Here's the thing. I think Ken's a badass. I don't think he ever tries to make anything flashy.
No.
But like you just see like his other drills that he does. He's just like a dude who seems like a very strong utilitarian to me. Like I can't ever imagine him doing a drill that doesn't have like a very strong utilitarian purpose. But anyways, it's a great drill. It starts off with you seated down in a chair. So get a camping chair, get something that is, you know, similar to the way you sit in church in a pew or in the lobby or whatever, with your back to the target. So, and the reason this is important, because you're like, wait a sec. If my back's to the target, if I draw, does that mean I'm drawing on all the people behind the target and therefore in front of me? No, you dingus. You don't draw on all the innocents in church or in a movie theater or wherever you're at. You turn to identify a threat and then you draw and engage. Or if you're moving towards a threat to engage them, then you draw in a position of concealment or whatever. But you don't draw and flag the 90 innocent people in front of you in the pews at church, right? And so that's kind of the idea of starting with your back to the target. So he starts with his back to the target, and when the timer goes off, he steps up, turns around, identifies target, draws, and engages, which is pretty great. I added a spin to it to combine this other drill. This is the top 5 warm-up pistol drills with Navy SEAL Door from Tactical Hive. Tactical Hive, I think, is a great channel. I think they have a lot of great drills and a lot of great honest feedback over specific firearm setups and things like that. I'm not a big fan of the name. I think everything is becoming tactical and they're just running out of names. So they're making, they're just throwing anything on that they can to it. But I do enjoy Tactical Hive and a lot of the content they provide. Top 5 warm-up pistol drills with Door essentially is very simple drills of drawing on a target, firing rounds, practicing magazine, ejection and reloads, and then practicing a transition. Now, here's the thing. He practices a transition in these drills from an AR platform to a pistol platform. In our church security, none of us carry around ARs or anything other than like pistols.
The most strapped church in America.
Yeah, no kidding. So I wanted to incorporate that, though, a transitionary drill. And so that's when we did the kid transitionary drill of like, picking up a child from like the child area, moving them into cover, setting them down into cover, or simulating a handoff to someone else who can get the child further away from the source of harm, and then transitioning to your pistol, drawing it, and engaging the threat. And I have to say this. I was blown away how everyone performed with those 2 drills. I think we only had one dude absolutely plaster the pastor. And when the range safety officer yelled out blue,
he shot green.
He shot green and killed the pastor. And it was funny because he's definitely one of the most skilled people at the range that day. One of the most practiced. And if anyone was to make that mistake, it was great that it was him, because he had the humility and the confidence in himself to not let it beat him up. But I thought it was pretty sick to see that, like, everyone performed pretty well. Even like our very novice guys, our guys who in the beginning of the day didn't even know what a trigger reset was. And by the end of the day, both rounds in that transitionary drill, having to actively practice prioritization and then moving into a transitional space, identifying a target amongst different ones. All that said, I think that was like really sweet to see how guys handled that and used it and moved into it. And it was all within a good time. Like, no one was like spending 30 seconds, I think, on like stand up from chair, pick up thing, walk over here, set it down, draw, drop the weapon, bang, bang. You know, as long as it took me to said that was probably the longest it took people to move and do it. And so I thought it was pretty cool. Gave me a lot of like confidence in like the future of the team and stuff and where people can go.
I agree. I was impressed with the firearms handling and safety of everybody. You know, it was like they're proficient in that. People are going to be safe. And then marksmanship was, you know, at the moment
can improve,
but good enough in a pinch. You know, like
there was none of those guys that I was like, you're going to shoot me in the back of the head if we're going in here.
Right. It was like, you know, sure, pelvic girdle's a good way to stop them from moving. But you know what I mean? Like it was still like, yeah, you're not going to shoot their eye out, but like, hey, it's on target, you know, and here's the deal. It's a volunteer team, you know, we're
not paying any of these guys, and they understand. Everyone understands if they shoot someone in this volunteer service, it's CYA. Like the church isn't paying their legal fees. You know, they understand. They're like, yep, like I'm doing this as a volunteer to put myself at risk.
For sure. And so yeah, I think that I was impressed with where we were at. We didn't feel like we have to, you know, tell anybody they gotta leave the team.
Not even leave the team, but not like I don't think I'd ever tell someone you can't leave the team, but just be like,
hey, you gotta put
you gotta put some more practice in here before you start carrying at church.
Yeah, it's like you give him the wooden gun, like from the other guys. Like, all right, you're on probation. You're carrying the wooden gun for now.
What a shame tactic, dude.
But so give him the wooden gun.
You gotta take it home and clean it.
Yeah.
Oil it.
Get linseed oil 3 times a day.
Wow, that's crazy. You read my mind.
Make
dude.
it
I was
shine.
just about to say linseed oil.
Yeah. And so I thought that it was a good down the range. And for me, I think that, listen, guys out there who want to shoot, find a way to be able to shoot in a private range type situation. You're actually going to get better training. It's more comfortable. It's more fun. It's more dynamic.
If you're in the inner city too, though, there usually is an opportunity at those inner city ranges to sign up for some kind of course. Right.
Get in courses and get in those things too, because that's
expensive.
Right. It is expensive, but here's the deal. It's like 10 guys and the whole range is shut down just for you, you know, that sort of thing.
Yep. You get to do some cool cowboy shit on those train days.
And depending on, you know, there's bad instructors out there, I'm sure, but also for the most part, like there's guys out there who know what they're doing, and then you're going to learn something. So, yeah.
I got to shout out to Mastermind Tactics. Mastermind Tactics makes a product that was definitely, in my eyes, the all-star of the range day.
Really?
The nutsack pillow.
Oh, dude, the nutsack pillow. That thing is wild.
People wanted it. People envied it. I let a couple guys try it on, and they're like, damn, this feels way better. So Mastermind Tactics makes what's known as the appendix carry pillow. They have a 3-pack of it. And then if you're not entirely bought on it, you know, the idea of like attaching this, you know, extra 2-inch girth.
What is it? What does it do?
So essentially, it is a 2-piece system where you put this industrial duty sticky on one side, soft fabric Velcro on the other side.
Straight to the scrotum.
Yeah.
For your nutsack.
It's there forever. No, you put that on your actual holster.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be a rigid body holster. I don't think it really works on leather,
Mm-hmm.
because it's pliable. And then you attach a pillow that has a Velcro side to it
Mm-hmm.
to this. And
It's like a little bean bag.
and it's at a sloped angle. And what it does is it pushes the grip of your handgun tighter against your waist,
Mm-hmm.
but pushes out the barrel away from your body.
Mm-hmm.
And it also just keeps like the corners of your holster from rubbing that inner thigh,
Mm-hmm.
or, when you sit down, it keeps it from pinching.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's, it makes it easy to, I'll be honest, it makes it easy to conceal carry a full size 45. Like,
Yeah.
it makes it comfortable. I don't always conceal carry that,
Mhm.
but like when I do, I make sure to have that extra thick pillow on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to shout out them. And if you're not bought on it, if you're like, whoa, it's $65 for the 3-pack of the pillows. They have the foam pack, which are just foam wedges, not the pillows. And the foam wedges are the same thickness as the pillows.
Mm-hmm.
And they wear down a lot easier because they're not like sewn by I don't even know what the fabric is, but they're good to try out, and they're only like $17.
Mm.
And so I
Are
highly
the pillows
recommend it.
different sizes? Is that why? Or is it like if
The
you
3-pack of pillows are different sizes. So like,
so you can get it fit the right way you want?
especially too, like if you're concealed carrying a really big
Mm-hmm.
like holster,
Mm-hmm.
then like you're gonna use the king size pillow.
Yeah. And like go in on it with a buddy and then
Yeah.
figure out what's best for you. $30. There you go.
So I just want to shout them out for sure. And they're not sponsoring this or anything like that. It's just like, it's improved my
Mm-hmm.
quality of life carrying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it definitely helps with concealment.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys think like, oh, I can't carry I can't carry appendix because the grip sticks out like a sore thumb
Mhm.
underneath my shirt. I look like I have an insulin pack on the front side of me.
Mm-hmm.
This really helps in like pushing the angle back and concealing that grip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think here's the thing too about carrying. If you decide to conceal carry, do what it takes to make it comfortable for you to do it, because you need to commit to it all the way.
Mhm.
If you're gonna, if you're gonna carry, and so for another couple bucks, makes it more comfortable and makes it hide better. So, what's the loss?
Exactly. But with that, I kind of think that's a good, full dedicated episode to range time practicing, good
Mhm.
things we learned, things to continue to practice. We gave some videos out there for you guys to all reference and learn from and carry into your own life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this is a good conclusion here, keeping it focused on this topic. What about you, Pat?
Yeah, I agree. I think that I had a good time out there. I learned a lot about what I need to learn more on, and I think everybody should put more time, put more energy into training. And it's kind of a beating a dead horse if you listen to any of this type of stuff. Everybody's always, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your training, right? And so, but it is true, and it's also fun, good rec time, good time with other dudes, makes you more confident. So why not do it?
Exactly. All right, kid. Appreciate you listening in. You can check us out on everything. Stay tuned for as things develop. Website is getting closer to being completed, and we'll have schedules up there. We'll have a place where you can submit even voicemails
Oh, wow.
and fan emails and all that, so we can read that stuff online when we're recording. But yeah, stay tuned for all that stuff. Until next time.
Till next time. Nice.
man. Still hot.
It's still hot, dude. It's less hot, but it's still hot. Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.